Please welcome to the stage, from N26 product designer Mica, Sorge, and UX design lead Sara calls Clavera.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. Thanks to the George conference organizers for such a setup. Thank you so much for everyone in the stream. Well, we're two little women presenting the next big thing. Basically, we will talk more about what we mean by big, but we come here to explain our experience designing for the investments offering at N26. Before we start talking about the next big thing, let me introduce you to my colleague, Mica.
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Michele, but I actually go by Mica. I'm Brazilian. Is there any Brazilian representation in the crowd? Yes, nice. Cool. So as a designer, I think the things I love the most are good information architecture and evidence-based design, as you guys are going to see in our presentation today. And on a personal note, I love to travel. I love to try new food. Next week, I'm going to Japan, which is my favorite country. So if you guys have any recommendations, I think this is a great excuse to come talk to me.
All right. And my name is Sara. Basically, my career started at IDEO, then it followed by Deloitte Digital, so a lot of contrast in my life. Design-wise, I'm a nerd for quality. I think quality has the longest legs, so it goes the farthest. And basically, a good way to approach me is to talk about road bikes. Road bikes are my passion, and so are all the outfits that come with it. But we wouldn't be here if we were not having and representing a big team of women in a male-dominated industry with a male-dominated audience as well. And I feel that it was important for us to portray how at N26, a team of women are driving the investments segment. Of course, we have Breno in the audience, which is our head of design. We wouldn't forget about him. So thank you so much also, Breno. I'm not going to say anything new to most of the audience, given that you're used to and familiar with the neobanks. We come from N26. Since 2013, we try hard to simplify and be kind. So basically, we bring this kindness to finances. We're not aggressive. We're just with a lot of thought. We bring all sorts of financial activity to our customers. We're based we have a full German banking license. And since 2022, we're diversifying our offering crypto. And recently, we're offering stocks and ETFs. So I'm going to jump to what do we mean by big. You saw that big title in the beginning. And we want to talk about big things. And what are big things? You might feel like, new discoveries. No, it's not that. Big things are things that are embedded in our realities without us noticing, but being very aware of it. So I'm talking about things like plant-based diets or shared mobility, because who hasn't taken a city bike or a scooter and, said no to owning a mobility, like a car or a motorcycle? Who doesn't use city bikes, perhaps uses an Apple Watch or a smart wearable. This is like a reality that we don't even contemplate as new, because it has been with us for a long time. And out of a sudden, we find ourselves measuring our steps, calculating calories in these, small watches that we all carry. And the ones that are not that techy, I'm sure that they have a 9-step skincare routine, or a 2 steps, or they wash their face with a hand soap. But, this is not less important. You're conscious that your skincare is one way or the other, and you're conscious that skincare is everywhere. So basically, when we talk about the big thing, we are wondering, what makes all these things big, right? They're big because they have been, by osmosis, embedded into our lives, but how? How does a big thing become big? Well, they share certain characteristics. Basically, they are easy to understand and use. They provide this sense of reward and achievement. You feel good. You feel good when you use them. And you feel good, and you want to share it with everyone, so then the community goes with it. And then, out of a sudden, you feel better because you are doing it. So they boost self-perception. And you might be wondering, how the hell is this all connected with investments, right? They come from N26. So basically, at N26, and particularly in our team, we have this strong belief that investing should feel the exact same way: effortless, rewarding, and confidence building. This is not an easy feat, but there's a lot of room to try things out. When we started doing research, and I'm going to talk more about this later, we heard often the same sentence from people that had started investing, which is, looking back, I should have started investing a lot earlier or sooner. And our goal basically is to make people feel the same way. The people that have never tried, we want them to say this once they try. Then you might be wondering, what did we do? How did we come to this conclusion, right? Well, basically, this is no news for all the designers in the room, but there was a very thorough process that started with a big discovery. And what you're going to be seeing here are just a few steps of a simplified process of almost 50 interviews, a big qualitative research effort, and also a sizing effort with more than 3,000 survey replies. And what we wanted to do was, okay, let's study those people that invest already so we can create profiles, personas, however you want to call it, so we can predict the behavior and we can, push those people that don't invest yet. Basically, we started by something super easy. What triggered the people that invest into investing? And we found out that there are two main triggers, or like two main clusters of triggers. The first one is internal curiosity. So I'm this super curious person. I'm eager to learn. I'm not afraid of economy, and I want to be exposed and I want to research on my own. This is like the internal force. And some others, though, were basically FOMO induced. There is this context that is pushing people to start investing. We continued researching, and we wanted to understand, okay, this is why they started, but we want to know what kept them investing. Basically, there are, again, two edges of the same fork or spectrum. First one is people who kept investing because they saw it as an opportunity to play, as something fun. They saw it as a game, trial error. Maybe I win, maybe I lose. But we kept seeing people that took investing as a habit, like the coffee you take every morning. You check the news, you put a little bit of money, or you do it on a monthly basis, or on a 3-month basis. This didn't keep us away from how people learned about investing. And there are 3 types of learning. I think that the second one is very, it's very funny to explain, not so funny to experience. But the first one is exponential, happy path. I learn more, I do better, I learn more, I do better. The second one is the traumatic one. I lose a shit ton of money, and I learn. I learn about risk. I learn about what is being cautious. I learn that perhaps I shouldn't be, juggling with money. And the third one is I would say, the lazy one, the sufficient learning. I learn enough. I'm good enough. Fair enough. I'm good, It's good. I have these funds here. Someday they're going to grow bigger. I'm fine. It didn't stop here. At some point, somebody told us, it is very important the type of asset that customers are trading or buying and selling. And we wanted to map what was the correlation between the frequency of trading and the type of assets that customers were buying and selling. Basically, this just gave us a hint of how things were going and the activity that we would expect. But why did we do all this? Why did we research on all these areas? Basically, we wanted to come up with different personas, and so we did. We came up with the thrill seeker, the person that is ready to, at some point we called it YOLO as well, you only live once, yeah, let's invest this here, I've heard this there. Then, there's the opportunity chaser. Again, somebody that is ready to jump any moment. They have the money, they do it. Some other more cautious investor that we found was the forever beginner, a person that keeps learning and failing, but keeps trying. Then, on the other side, we saw the family planner, the person that is very well versed in what investment means. Perhaps, their parents already carried over this knowledge. And finally, the knowledge seeker, which is a person that never has enough and will learn every day. Perhaps I'm sure that all the people that invest here can see themselves in one of these personas. And you might think that the research ended here, but what happened to us was nothing that we learned served us for designing, because we had to choose either for one or for the other. And out of a sudden, we had what we call, what we call the revelation. It was groundbreaking for us and on our way to design. And I'm gonna explain how the revelation came. Out of a sudden, we saw that forever beginners weren't acting as they were expected to act. And they were doing sudden movements. And what we found out is basically that investor profiles are a static reference, but customer mindsets are dynamic and reversible. So a forever beginner can feel like a family planner and can take a very cautious decision. Yet, as a person that is prone to risk can take a calmer approach depending on the mindset that they are in. These mindsets, you can see them as a journey. This like you go from unaware to having a more exploration and learning mindset to practicing, optimizing, and mastering. This is totally independent from the type of persona that you are. And our design was meant to cater to that rather than any static persona.
Amazing. So what does we actually mean by that? So in practice, I'm going to explain 3 terms that we defined to actually help guide us through all this complexity, which is in designing for investments. So we have 3 terms: the mindset, the activities, and the units. The mindset was everything that Sara was explaining. So it's this approach that investors take towards their investments journey. So it's shaped by their goals, their risk tolerance, their experiences. Then we have the activities. This is very related to one thing that you guys must probably know. It's the jobs to be done. This is all the actions that an investor can take, like buying, selling, monitoring an asset. And it's completely based on the mindset that they have. And then, only then, we have the units. The units are all the asset types that you can buy. So stocks, ETFs, bonds, anything that you can trade money for. But the thing that is important here is that we understood that units, they don't really matter much for our customer. What matters is their mindset and where they are in their journey. So specifically, the duration of their mindset is really important. Are they investing with a short-term duration mindset or more like a long-term? And the mindset dictates completely the activities that they are going to take inside of our platform. Is it an asset that they are investing that takes more dedication, more effort, or is something that it's easier and they can do more long-term and they don't have to monitor as much? Cool. A bunch of theory, right? But how did we apply all of that in our journey, in our product? So I'm going to talk here about how we took this journey and we implemented different journeys, different ways users invested in the same platform. So consider yourself lucky here, because we're going to be showing some things that are still under production. So firsthand. So let's go. Here is one of the things we're most proud of. It's our asset detail experience. This is where users go to help make them make informed decisions about selling, investing, holding an asset. So this page is very informational heavy. And we had a big challenge here. How might we not overwhelm our users with all this information? So going back to the journey, we understood that we had to tailor and support each person in the different stage that they were. So no matter what they were, we needed to understand if they needed more guidance or less guidance from us. So for the users that need less guidance, we understand that they can interpret the data on their own. So that's what we did. We gave them the data. For example, a PE ratio of 28. But for the users that are just starting, they're still practicing, we didn't want to make them leave the platform to actually search for all these terms. there are a lot of terms in investment, and it can feel very daunting for users that are just beginning. So we broke down all this information that they need to know into digestible parts, and we try to deliver the content when they actually needed the content to be delivered. We wanted to prevent, again, users to be overwhelmed. So, for example, the P ratio, so the number that you get when you get the current share price and divide by the company earnings per share. So here's the definition. But we understood that this is not enough. And we understood that users need to understand the why this is important, why it can be used, what is the purpose and the significance of this content, because then they're going to be more likely to be motivated. So this is what we did. We organized the information architecture in a way that made them understand the why. For example, the P ratio can help them understand the valuation of a company. A high P ratio, for example, can mean that the price might be a bit high compared to what the company is making. So that can mean that it's a bit overpriced, and vice versa. So again, still not enough. We understood that the number without the content, the context, is meaningless. For example, I can tell you all that I'm 160. My height is 160. But if you don't know how tall a human usually is, that means nothing to you. But if you do, you're going to understand that I'm a quite short person, right? So the same concept can be applied here. When users can compare the metric with the rest of the industry, they're going to be able to understand better what that metric means. For example, this P ratio is a bit above the average for this industry. So if users understand that, it's going to help them understand what it means, the valuation, what the number means, what it is, and understand better and make informed decisions. And again, we understood that there is a percentage of users that's still yet not enough. They want even more than that. So we added a third layer of information where users can go to learn more about a specific topic. They can go to see articles, videos, and more information about that. Another place where we added all of this research that we did is our Explore experience. This is where users go to choose their next move. So here we wanted to use more a conversational tone, like find your first investment, find your next investment, how would you like to get started? And then tailor the experience to different mindsets. Again, for the users that are mastering, they know what they're doing, they know what they need, they know what they were looking for. So they can go directly to the search and look for the asset that they want to buy. They also might want to check what is new in our platform or set up an investment plan for the asset that they already know that they can trust and invest over time. Some users might want to do the same, but they don't have all this knowledge. They don't know which asset that they should pick. And here we use some other features, some other tools to help users see what other people are doing and help narrow down the options that they have to actually analyze and potentially buy. So help them to pick what they want to invest. And we have the people that are just starting out. They are still very unaware. So these people, we understood that they want to hear the analysts. They want to see what are the analyst topics. They want more guidance. They want to understand the terminology. So we created the Learning Hub, what we call the Learning Hub, where they can find all the information that they can also find contextually across our experience, but in one single place. And in this Learning Hub, we understood the power of visual learning, and we created these really beautiful animations to help users grasp all this content more easily, to make this experience more delightful. So these are just some ways we are applying all this research that you guys saw, all this strategy, and we still have a long way to go. So keep an eye on the platform to see what we come up with next.
All right, it's my turn to circle back to the title of our presentation, which is, what is the essential ingredient to turn investments into the next big thing? Well, if I knew for sure, then, we would end the conversation here. But we know that there are three things that are key. And just like in the other industries that we've paid attention earlier, I would say that navigating complexity in an easy way, not hiding it away from our customers is very important, just as being convenient. I mean, as a millennial, you expect to be convenient. As a Gen Z, if something's not convenient, you are not there already, right? And as the third thing, and I think that Mauri really pointed at that, content is key. So to clearly communicate with the customer and provide this narrative that the customer is expecting, and use a super simple language that is localized and that speaks to where I'm from, and I speaks in a way that I can truly understand without making an effort, is also key. So basically, as buzzwordy as it sounds, empathy is the answer. And it might, you might be saying, oh yeah, empathy is already embedded in the UX practice. But what we feel is that until now, investments has been a one-way conversation. It's the financial world shouting, and some of the privileged ones just grasping, understanding, and making profit out of it. And what we really, really, really want is to turn it into a dialogue. So basically, Mica?
Yes, want to speak investment with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. So now it's time for Q&A. Are you ready? So I'm going to start with a remote question here. What advice would you give to young women who are just starting out in a field that is so dominated by men?
Well, I can get started maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I can, yeah.
Well, I think that sounds a bit simple, but understand what you're doing, understand the market, understand how your company is making profit. I think it's very easy for us as designers to just be like, oh, the user, empathy. But if we don't understand what we are talking about in terms of business, how is this bringing value to the business, I think it's very tricky to keep a conversation with all these people that are in the company. So in my opinion, I think that's the best way to actually get started. Learn your field. And learn how you're going to make this conversation happening with all the other people that are working with you.
Yeah, I just have one word, just start. And you're already far ahead from the rest.
That's beautiful. Do we have any question here on in person? There.
Hi. How are you doing this stock valuation? Do you have maybe a specific or dedicated team or finance experts who are providing this data and these values?
We have a data enrichment partner that provides us with this information. It's called Xignite.
Thank you.
Good. And there is a maybe funny question for you from the remote audience. From your personas, which of those personas do you see yourself in? Maybe Mica.
Let me think. You can go first. Sara.
I'm a forever beginner.
Yeah,
forever.
you're the same. At least that's how I feel, right? Yeah. I'm always learning, and I feel like sometimes I'm stuck behind.
Yeah. Cool. So let's go to one more last question for on-site. Can we get a microphone here? Thank you.
Hi. I'm sorry if I understood maybe a little bit wrong, but I had the impression that you guys, during this whole process, challenged certain frameworks, design frameworks, and certain design very, static concepts, So I'd like to ask what is your criticism, against maybe certain design practices and concepts, and how you guys maybe created your own way of working.
And in my opinion, a framework is a framework, right? It needs to adapt to what your needs to help you answer the questions that you need to answer. So I don't like this idea of a framework that can never change. So in my opinion, you need to understand what you're gonna need, and of course, while you're doing, I think you're learning, and you're also shaping the framework that you're using. So in my opinion, it shouldn't be a box that needs to fit, but every company needs to find the way that works better for you, for your team, and for the needs that you have.
Yeah, I mean, to add to that, I think I think Mauri pointed at very key concepts. Investments is a very complex topic for advanced investors and for newbies. This complexity made us question everything established. We weren't designing an ABC service or product. We needed to go the extra nudge. So I like Mica just said, learn about the business, but also learn about the subject. Like I remember when before designing those screens, right? I told Mica, well, we need to organize the work. I think that your team is going to take care of this asset design, design the asset screen. Sorry. And she was like, okay, and then she spent like 2 weeks just learning about every term. This is it can fit within a framework or it can fit outside the framework. What is important is that whatever you're doing it for a reason. That's why we're designers and not artists, right? So we've solved problems of this magnitude or of this that are super big. I think that our job is to find a way that you can explain it. Like once you start explaining it to somebody else, it makes complete sense and they can learn it. That's when you know you're in the right direction.
Yes, and it's okay not to know about it at first. I didn't know almost anything about investing when I joined the team, and I think the important thing here is to be curious. So I knew that it was going to be important for me to know all of this to actually be able to design in a way that our users would also understand. So if you don't know, be curious, go study a bit, and I think that's the thing that it's going to benefit you the most.
Okay, we have one more question.
Yeah. First, I'm happy to see that design at N26 is fully dominated by women. So congratulations. And the level of care and beauty I see in your presentation and in your products, I think is related to that. Number one. Number two is, you did an extensive research on this topic, and we did extensive research as well. And the research tells us that women do not invest as much as men. Normally, investment is a male thing, saving is a female thing, managing the house budget is a female thing, taking some more risk is a male thing, which is, I think, is annoying and is a problem because if there is a gender who may have financial issue at the end of their life and career, it's probably the women and not the men. Are you doing something in this direction, or you have a completely agnostic approach on the topic?
Actually, that's one of the biggest challenges we have now, because we also know that our user base is also male dominant. So it's something that internally we are driving to actually understand better ways how we can attract women to actually feel empowered to actually start investing. Because one thing that we feel is that women don't feel like they can, and we know they can. We can, so they can as well. So that's what we want to change.
Yeah, I mean, I would encourage everyone in the room that doesn't know them. Female Invest is a great platform. I think they are based in Denmark and also in the US. They are doing great things in this regard. As internally, we're trying. As personally, we're trying even harder. I'm convincing all my friends that they should start already. I think that it should be, it is our privilege to be exposed to this topic and to be exposed to financial literacy, to share it with anyone at any dinner. Stop talking about skincare, start talking about investments care, and spreading the word. I think using the privilege is what we have at hand, so we should start doing it as soon as possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.